Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the European Session Brief. We're on Thursday the 4th of May 2023. Just gone past 8 a.m. here in Europe. Some interesting moves over the past 24 hours in markets. Of course, the Fed. We had the Fed deliver 25 basis points hike yesterday, and Jerome Powell hinting that the US central bank's latest interest rate increase could be the last one. But he also stopped short of declaring victory in the battle against rapid price increases. So the moves that we've seen on the back of the Fed have been weakness in US dollar, a lot of weakness in US dollar. If you look at the euro chart here, you can see everything in the green over the past 24 hours on the 4-hour chart. Similar in the cable, also looking to break new yearly highs. Gold being the most interesting mover of the past 24 hours, that's for sure. Shot up from the 2000 handle and hit new all-time highs. So all that's happened throughout the trading day in Asia as well. So I want to bring you up to speed with that soon as well. Just a little bit more on the Fed before I kick off on that. Powell did leave the door open for officials to keep raising borrowing costs if inflation remains more stubborn than they expect, and push back strongly against market expectations that the Fed will be cutting. The message suggests officials will resist backing down on their inflation fight even if the US economy begins to falter. So if truth be told, it was still a relatively hawkish message, but the markets seem pretty happy that this is the final one. Relieved it wasn't any more hawkish than expected, and we saw that weakness in the US dollar transpire. So eyes focus now onto the ECB. The ECB today poised to slow the pace of interest rate increases after its preferred inflation measure eased for the first time in 10 months. With tighter lending conditions also weighing on the economy, officials will raise the deposit rate by a quarter point to 3.25% today. A bigger move can't be ruled out, however. A minority that includes JP Morgan and Bank of America reckon officials will opt for a 50 basis point step, as underlying price gains still far exceed the 2% target and wage growth is picking up. PacWest Bancorp, a regional US bank teetering following the collapse of 3 rival lenders, has been weighing on a range of strategic options, including a sale. The stock plunged as much as 60% in post-market trading yesterday, while those of Western Alliance fell as much as 38%. So this plays into the hands of gold, which we saw a fly higher. It's also having an impact on US interest rate cut expectations, and like I mentioned, gold trading to new all-time highs. So whilst I'm carrying on with my European stuff, I'm going to open up the gold chart, so then we can see, and you can just see here the Aussie dollar taking a move lower as we speak, which is interesting because we're not really seeing that reflected in some of the others. Okay, let me put us onto the 4-hourly on gold. What else did I have to say in Europe? It was just a quick case of going through the calendar, and obviously the highlight being the ECB. So there's not too much else apart from that. We've had the trade balance. We've got some PMIs coming out of the eurozone countries, but the main focus, rest assured, will be on the ECB, which is a little bit later on today, probably about 5 hours time from now, 5 or 6 hours time from now. But look at the size of the move that we saw on gold, and this was all during the early parts of the Asian session today. I think Drew had been posting, because it was during my evening, or during my night, I should be saying, really, here in Europe. But Drew had been posting in the chat when it was happening that gold in Aussie dollars had jumped $40 in an hour. So Drew's suggesting that Aussie banks have started trading gold, but we've also seen gold moving higher against the US dollar quite significantly as well. So some really interesting moves there, and this does suggest, because it was during the Asian session, that there's some pretty big players that are involved in that move. To get that much movement in the price of a highly liquid asset within such a short space of time suggests there's been some seriously big bids being put in there. So maybe some more bits and pieces might come out today about that. How's the trade gone since then? Well, there's been some profit taking at that level. Of course, market's going to get pretty twitchy. Don't forget, this is a big potential triple top level. My chart's just jumping, but we did retest. This is the third time we've gone into this level. The last 2 times we've sold off aggressively, and you can already see we're trading down $40. So some serious volatility in gold there. Maybe some form of short squeeze as well. You've got the breakout of consolidation. We've been mentioning how choppy and how consolidated the price of gold had been in recent times. Obviously, you got the breakout of that. Then it's just flown higher. So we'll see what there might be some comments that come out today as to who forced this move higher. But already we're trading it low, and a fade basically looks to be on the cards. So that's just one of the markets I wanted to mention. We don't usually discuss gold in these briefs, of course, but with the size of that moves, it was pretty interesting. And of course, oil has had a pretty chaotic sell-off in the past 24 hours too. I think we've had more than a 10% move low. In fact, I think we must be touching 15% by now in the past 48 to 72 hours on crude oil or oil in general. With the potential for recession in the US, weakening economic conditions, and weakening data coming out of China. I posted a little bit about that as well yesterday. Obviously, the fragility among its banks, the regional banking crisis continues to rumble on, despite JP Morgan chief Jamie Dimon saying it's near the end. It doesn't look like that's the case, and we continue to monitor that closely because it seems that that's quite a big driver in sentiment right now. Had quietened down, of course, with First Republic Bank being taken over by JP, but now you've got Bancorp and the one which I've just forgotten the name of quickly. I've forgotten the name of one of them. PacWest Bancorp, sorry, and Western Alliance. That's it, Western Alliance. So Bancorp was down. PacWest was down 60%. Western Alliance fell as much as 38% in after hours trading yesterday. So I think there was some reports that PacWest Bancorp was looking at a sale as an option. So that pushed the stock price lower. In terms of technicals, quickly on these markets, the FTSE came into one of our key support handles. This was a level I mentioned in yesterday's brief that I'd like to see get tested before moving higher. We're into it now, 77.10. We have seen an initial bounce off there, so this is quite an interesting level to look to add some longs onto the table for a move back to retrace into 78.45 on the FTSE. DAX holding on by dear life really to its key support level here around that 15,730 areas, 15,735. You can see once again coming into it, these wicks starting to add up. We're again just seeing a slight bounce though in the early trade. The euro higher high after higher high, higher low after higher low on the at least on the intraday time frame over the past 24-48 hours. Pretty impressive move as well, regaining the channel structure and now testing its current yearly high of 111. Cable looking to break through its own yearly highs and make new highs essentially. So that's the state of play. Weakness in the US dollar. Let's see what the ECB delivers today. Overnight volatility in the euro dollar yesterday was at its lowest ahead of an ECB decision day in a year, although even though the gauge also captured the release of the Fed meeting, in essence suggesting that a 25 basis points move and a data dependent forward guidance is what we'll get. There's a theme of low volatility in FX at the moment, and that remains, and it remains to be seen whether Lagarde's forward guidance could bring some fireworks in the spot market, in contrast to expectations by options market makers. I'll post the Bloomberg chart actually inside the chat room after I've posted this video inside here. So that's it from my end. I'll see you all inside the chat room. Thanks for listening and have a great day trading. Bye for now.